Hey guys, how's it going? Good to see you. So I'm coming in today to have a look at one of the mods that was featured earlier in the Tiberian Sun 22nd anniversary events, Shattered Paradise. So this is based on the OpenRA engine. If you want to actually go see it, you can go to moddb.com/mods/Shattered Paradise. I'll make sure to throw a link and stuff below on the YouTube video here. And my plan is to just briefly go through a couple of skirmish matches to show off each of the factions that are in the game so far. And there is also a single solo campaign mission type thing they've added to it, so I'll be jumping into that and trying it out. I've no idea how difficult or easy it's going to be, so probably won't get through all of it, but first I plan to just do a quick skirmish on each faction and have a look at the graphical settings and talk a little bit about first impressions. I haven't really played this. I hopped into one skirmish match, so all the information and stuff is on here. It's very straightforward to get set up, which is fantastic. Literally just go to the ModDB entry, go to the playtest, and you can download and get set up with that. So yeah, all very straightforward, simple. There it is when the page loads up. Hit download now. It's completely standalone. It actually comes with an installer, so you don't need to worry about extracting zip files or any of this stuff. You just specify where you want to install it once you have it set up, and then you just need to fire up the game. So I have it here. This is it. So this is what you see as soon as you launch the game. It gives you a little disclaimer. The mod is based on a pre-alpha build of OpenRA's Tiberian Sun mod, which is available at GitHub to follow development. For those who aren't familiar with OpenRA, they have their own sort of engine that they use for Red Alert. They have it for Tiberian Sun. They have it for now the beta version for Tiberian Sun, but they also have, as I said, Red Alert, Tiberian Sun, and there are a couple of other interesting mods and things that they've actually done with that engine. I've seen some tile sets with the likes of Warcraft and also Starcraft, so they've actually done quite a lot with the underlying engine. So this is going to be really interesting to check out. And of course, as they say here, it's just a disclaimer to say, while many features are missing or incomplete, we consider that the game is in a playable state. So we're going to see how that fares up. I'm sure it will be good. You can expect more improvements to come over time as the base mod is being worked on, but Shattered Paradise is by no means the responsibility of the OpenRA developers. So just a little side note there, I guess, that the Shattered Paradise guys are not directly, tied in to the OpenRA development system. But yeah, I understand, and we should get into a menu. Perfect. So you can create an account and register and all that good stuff. You'll see my username in the top left there. Usually I play under the DanDanku alias. But yeah, you got single player, multiplayer, settings, extras, manage content. I haven't actually looked at extras. So I actually have a replay system of previous games, so you can see my attempts here. That's actually really cool. I didn't know they had that. Music. So there's a couple of instructions with the installation of this to get the music set up. So long as you've got the base Tib Sun game installed, you should be able to access it no problem. If you have difficulties, there's very detailed step-by-step instructions that I saw that ZX Ganon had put up on their Discord, and I'll be sure to link that below too. So that's available. Map editor is there. Asset browser. I haven't looked through any of this stuff, but I'm sure if you want to play around with it, you can. So it's pretty cool. The other actions there. Settings fairly standard. Display, audio, input, hotkeys, advanced. All that good stuff. Multiplayer and single player. Now, as I was saying earlier, single player, we can do skirmishes, we do missions. There's one mission in here. We'll have a look at that in a bit. But first, we're just going to do a couple of skirmishes to show off each of the individual factions. Maybe try out a couple of different maps and see what kind of things are going on. So, with that in mind, it defaults to Easy AI. There are three. Easy AI, Cheater AI, and Shattered AI. As somebody who's just coming into this, I'm not super familiar with the differential between them. We might try out one of each, but for the start, we'll just go easy into it. And of course, they have 5 factions. So usually, as you'd expect, they'd have the GDI faction and the Nod faction. They also have a Mutants faction, which is not too unusual, I would say, for Tib Sun. Like the Mutants are always considered a certain faction in the games. Then you have CABAL faction, which is a little bit different, and a Scrin faction, which should be interesting to see how it actually looks visually and how it plays out, different to the other factions in this mod. But yeah, let's start off with GDI. We'll try a few different colors just to see the different models. I tend to usually go with the sky blue color. We'll start off going up against Nod. You know, may as well have a look at the different models, see how the AI behaves, and all that good stuff. Usually Nod, I guess, tend to be more on the red side of the spectrum, so we'll select that. And yeah, have a look at the maps here. You got 69 maps altogether so far. It's a pretty wide selection of them, which is awesome. It's great to see. So we'll just pick a couple at random. Again, I've tried this one map, that's about it. So yeah, why don't we try industrial strength here? Hit OK, and yeah, let's just go for it. So looks like we have a tib field right beside us, and we can crawl to our right or towards the top, and hit start game. See how this plays. Cool. So we have our Conyard. So similar to the OpenRA engine, and people who haven't used it before, usually you start off with a Conyard with this construction radius, so you can build your stuff usually in the OpenRA around this, but they've actually reduced the effect of it to better mirror the Tib Sun natural aesthetic, so you can only build it one tile adjacent to your structures, which is pretty cool, up to the limit of that radius itself. Nice. We'll get our racks down. We'll go for refinery. They have tabs up here, which is always super nice. So you can consecutively build your primary structures, but you can also build your defensive structures in parallel. In particular, they've done an adaptation. So in normal Tib Sun, as you may be aware, you usually build a component tower and then put a header on top of it. In this one, they've combined it, so you literally just build a Fulcrum tower here. We'll place one just to show it off. And it'll actually be the whole turret, right? You don't have to build the separate header and component base to it, which is nice. Quality of life improvement. Here we have a refinery. Interesting model for it, different to what you would expect. Very stylish. So we'll get our Vulcan tower here, and you can see again the range on it. It's very nice. So we'll slap that down. We'll get a few Marines, seems to be the default units. Just cool voice lines. That's pretty nice. You got a phalanx here, which is a basic anti-armor infantry, so I guess like a kind of like a Rocket Man solution for GDI. It's kind of nice. In the base game, you tend to just have disc throwers, which screw you over for early anti-air stuff. And OpenRA has usually been focused on the competitive aspect of their balance, so it's usually quite an important thing for them. Interesting to see that the AI is sending an engineer our way straight away. You just can't escape it in CNC, even when you're up against AI. I'm not quite sure why they all have these little health packs beside them. I'd be curious if it leaves them after they get a certain radius away from the actual Conyard. I'm sure there's an explanation of it available somewhere, or it might just be temporary. As soon as they come out of the racks, they get a slight buff to their health. Here we can see things like a SAM tower, so these are going to have the component base attached to them, so you don't have to do this mix and match stuff. You can actually separately build the power turbines for your power plants, which is a great way for you to reactively get your power back on if you accidentally place a structure that puts you super far behind. And then we have here, after getting down our helipad, the ability to build the Orca, a carryall. The carryall requires a service depot. Interesting. The Orca bomber requires a tech center. So nothing particularly surprising there. So yeah, we'll get ourselves, an Orca. It's kind of the standard for GDI. We're going to need to get ourselves more TIB, so I might build a second ref. Well, that's cool. We give you a little alert notice with the engineer. They seem to have their veterancy system in place. It's interesting visually. It feels very much like as you would expect for a Tib Sun game, which is nice. I'm not sure. Here we have a Tiberium extractor, provides additional funds. This is kind of like a oil derrick, I guess, that you would normally get in Red Alert or something similar. So that's cool. They actually have neutral structures that you can capture if you can get up onto the cliff. Not quite sure how you would do it here. Maybe carry-all with maybe an APC with an engineer in it or something. Because I don't see any shootable clips. So they might just be doing it more so as a tease than anything else. I guess another important thing to note here, with this being on the OpenRA engine, is that fog of war is very much a thing by default. So you can see as soon as my units move away from a location on the map, I no longer have perma vision there. So if they have units in the area, I can't see it. It's a bit of a contestable thing, I guess, throughout the history of seeing the different games that are available, whether or not people want the fog of war effect or not. A lot of the older games don't have it, which is understandable, of course. We'll go for the harvesters because we're like absolutely bleeding in terms of the speed of our eco. So we'll get a couple of harvesters, we'll get a couple of wolverines, and get a couple of titans. Pretty standard units. Here we have an amphibious APC. So you can see here in the text it says requires GBI barracks, armored infantry transport, good versus infantry. This is another very nice thing actually about the tooltips for this. It tells you what each individual unit is good against. So if you've never played before and like you're trying to figure out, like in this situation, what each unit does, and you come across one you don't recognize, it's a pretty cool way of being able to see that. So this can basically transport 5 infantry units, travel over water, can shoot over walls. That's cool. Can crush infantry. This grenade bounces twice after missing the target. Cool. Then hover MLRS. We've got a few other units we'll look at once we unlock access to them. But yeah, here we have our 2 harvesters. We'll get another one in the mix. Thankfully, because we're playing against the AI on their current difficulty, they're not necessarily attacking me. This is kind of cool. The Orca is just kind of floating in the air. You can just tell it to go somewhere, and I guess that means that land units won't necessarily be able to hit it. Usually you tend to see in these games that once you move your Orca or your air units to a specific location, they land and they're vulnerable to land units that can attack. But because it's staying floating, I guess you just need to be very conscious of having anti-air at all times. And on that note, I'm going to get some MLRS before I get the Titans. And I can hear some burrowing units. We'll take this engineer and we'll try capture this Tiberian extractor. Hopefully it'll help us out with our eco, which is actually picking up at this point, which is nice. So I'll start building a tech center. It'll probably put me low power, but we'll just do it. We'll roll with the punches. So here's our hover MLRS, very iconic unit. Model looks pretty nice. And then we have our fire, again the Wolverine. Pretty nice visual effects. Nice lighting for the landing shots of the actual bullets too. You can see it here. You can also see the radius of the unit of the Wolverine when you select it. So I guess it can shoot up to this point, and then it moves to get beyond it. So we can now capture this. I'll be curious if we can build off it. I suspect not, because of the nature of the engine. You'd probably have to undeploy your Conyard, which looks like an option here, and then move it to where you want to deploy your next ref. So what I'll do is I'll place this, I'll get power, then I'll move the Conyard over here and get more refs set up. In the meantime, make sure I'm building some structures. We've unlocked a few additional units with the tech center here, so we can get Juggernaut, which is good versus infantry in buildings. Does AoE damage, minimum attack distance, can shoot over walls, can crush infantry, so we'll get a couple of those. Disruptor, again, quite an iconic building. Oh wow, that's a lot of units. Okay, don't panic. So we have disruptors. We have here a Mammotype, which tends not to be a default unit you can get access to in the Tiberian Sun engine. It's usually all, Mammotype Mark IIs. Hopefully we can survive this. I need to get my power situation sorted. Looks like they're using some kind of scouting ability here. So here we have an example where I'm able to quickly get the power renewed there. Am I going to survive this? Probably not. Explosion effects are pretty cool there. I do like that. Oof. Can I crush all these infantry? I can. Or at least I can crush some of them. Try to get some more orc up. Because I have the cash, I just don't have the ability to produce anything at this point. We'll get a few of these. We'll try to get a turret up. We'll go and repair this. Does it tell you the hotkey of these in game? It does. So control the ore. It's a nice quick way to learn the hotkeys. Cool. By default, it's right click to engage enemies, unlike the usual left click you might be familiar with the base game. A little bit different. Thankfully, this tick tank is not doing a huge amount of damage to us. Nice. This should be recoverable. We still have our little extractor over here too, supplying us with some cash. Can my orca attack the air? Can. Okay, nice, nice. Oh no! Crap. Okay, we'll restart that. Okay, we'll come back out. We'll increase the game speed too, because it's a little bit too slow, I find, there by default. Usually I play these games a little bit faster anyway, so that's just a personal preference. The normal speed felt, you know, fine if you're used to that, but just for the purposes of showing this stuff off, it would be better if we're a bit faster. Yeah, so we'll go GDI not again. We'll switch the colors around maybe a little bit. What do you think? Go for, yeah, we'll be red this time and get the nod player to be, I don't know, pinky purple maybe? See how that looks. Yeah, we'll go back into it.
Establishing battlefield control. Stand by.
Cool.
Building.
Nice. So we kind of have an idea of what we're doing now. So we should be able to get a better start. We'll start building our structures down along. So if we can get a nice line here, it'd be kind of a natural expansion towards this tip. And then that'll allow us to engineer this and then push up towards here without having to move our, possibly without having, although we'll have to move our conyard. Again, because of this construction build radius, you have to move the conyard to be able to build. So I guess it doesn't particularly matter what way we crawl with these structures for the moment, but it's probably ideal to keep it here because it'll be more easily defendable with these chokes for this specific map anyway. But we'll see. We'll get a whole bunch of light infantry. Cool. We'll make sure to get an engineer so we can get that spike a little bit earlier. It should mean that we've a good flow of cash. I'm actually going to open up this time with 2 ref so you get earlier eco and it's a little bit faster. It already feels a lot better on a slightly faster speed for me. Oh, it's a machine shop here. It provides global repairs for vehicles. That's probably worth capturing if I can get it. Cool. We'll get our engineer dude up here. Maybe I'll take an infantry and go up here and see if he finds a way. Maybe, oh, there's a ramp here. Okay, cool. So I just go the long way around. Nice. A little bit hard to tell, but that's just the nature of these cliffs to the back. That's not any particular design decision fault or stuff. It's just the nature of it. So we'll send our dude in there. We'll get ourselves a radar. We'll attack the church. Maybe we'll get a crate. I suspect we won't, but you never know. And next up, we'll get the radar, and then we'll get the war factory. Should probably get it the other way around, but look, we're halfway through the radar at this point. Cool. Trying to think. I think trying to put my conyard, deploying it somewhere like here, and try and take this tip is probably the best option instead of going up here. which you could potentially do as well. And here you see I'm low power, so I'm going to try take advantage of this. I could be building something else instead of a power plant here, and then just rely on the power turbine. Similar to some other modifications, it's really cool to see that they only allow you to put one set of power turbines onto your power plant and it auto fills them up. You don't have to build them one by one, which can be quite a tedious process and be a pain to migrate. That's cool. Lighting effects pretty nice actually. You can see like the green reflecting off the units here. It's pretty cool. You can see the actual build speed of the Conyard here too. It's a nice effect. But yeah, it feels very much like Tiberian Sun. I'd say the only thing that feels a bit different is like the build radius scenario. But if I undeploy this, yeah, I can move them over here. That noise is me using hotkeys to try and flick between these, and some of them are closed now just because I have undeployed my dude. So I'll build a couple of harvesters, a couple of Wolverine, a couple of every unit, just for good measure, and we'll get a additional ref down here before we go to tech up. I think it's a good idea. We'll get a few of these phalanx guys. It says there in the text, and they're special, can attack air, so I think it's a worthwhile investment in case they come at us with some air. Meanwhile, we got the Wolverines to help us take care of any infantry that come along, and we can always spam out a few extra infantry if we need to. We can set the rally point for this. It's pretty cool reusage of the, I think it's the like carry-all type symbol that's in the default game. That's pretty cool. We'll get, I guess we could get 2 refs down here.
Unit ready. Building.
Our building has been captured. Oh, they actually captured this. Okay. Well, we'll see about that.
Building. On cancel. Building.
I can set a rally point for this too.
Unit ready.
Unit ready. Cool. So we'll send our engineer over here. It's something you got to keep your eye on in these maps. Again, because you can't build off these structures, it's a bit more, I would say, a little bit more awkward in terms of trying to maintain these structures that are away from your base. Because like the temptation for me is to, like, as soon as I capture this, to build a turret and put it down straight next to the structure, but it's just the nature of the OpenRA engine. It doesn't quite work like that. See what I mean here? But I can build it, you know, adjacent to my buildings within this circle, which is okay. We'll go for the tech center. Why not? We'll build an amphibious APC just to see what it looks like. Could travel over water, so maybe we can, like, we can't really take advantage of the bases from behind. It's a nice design on the map, I guess, that it's blocking you from just throwing your APC up and taking their base, which I imagine could be a very real problem if you're not careful on certain maps. Here's the model. It's pretty cool. It shoots too. Wouldn't necessarily have expected that, but it's a pretty nice advantage. We'll get our tech center here. So that seemed to unlock an ability up here in the top left. That's new. Spy satellite. Real shroud in an area. Does not detect cloaked units. That's definitely different. What else we got here? Dropship A. It also has the advantage in the tooltips of telling you the amount of time something takes and if you have enough power for it or not. So here you can see like the -200. The fact it's in red lets me know that I don't have enough power, so if I place it I'm actually going to be doing more harm than good. We seem to have unlocked the next tier of units here with our tech center. So we got the Juggernaut, the Disruptor, and the Mammoth Tank. We'll build one of each, have a look at them before committing fully to one of those options. In the meantime, we're going to load up on power so we can actually afford to get the next tier of structures. What we have here is a dropship base. So instead of the kind of like the super weapon structure that GDI tend to get by default, this seems to have the incorporated just dropship only option. Dropship just letting you, I'm assuming, bring in a kind of like a parachute drop but using the pods in on your opponent's base. So we'll see how effective that is and what's included with it. That's cool. So you have the option to dropship bay here, but in your defensive structure tab, you can also build the iron cannon. So you can actually have those two going at the same time. I like that. That's really nice. It's a nice addition. We have also seemed to unlock an extra unit here from the tech center at Eco Guard. Good versus vehicles. Does not receive damage from Tiberian fields. Nice. Their elite soldiers armed with an EMP ray. So that's cool. That's cool. Let's try and get our MLRS dudes somewhere over here to deal with this. Looks like they're using their Apache. So we'll get this down. We'll get the Mammoth Mark II. It's always nice to have. It's kind of the staple of a lot of these games, right? So at the top left we can see that this spy satellite ability is available. So let's use that. It's a cool look at the nod structures for the first time. The Conyard looking very different. And we'll get our eye in the center. This will probably not be on power. Yeah, it's to be expected, right? Cool. So just make sure we're building structures. Where's the war factory at? Here it is. So we have the mammoth tank here doing its thing. Here's our juggernaut. It's actually looking a lot like a those deployable units that you tend to usually have in CNC games. Juggernauts. So you just usually sit them to a location they can shoot, or you can deploy them. Again, this guy is coming at me hard and fast here, and because I've moved my Conyard, it's now out of position. So that's an extra consideration for moving. It just totally leaves this exposed, so you want to make sure you have all your defenses and stuff set up before you move. And we can see here like the tick tanks being deployed. It's a nice little visual effect. Just try to keep all this stuff alive. The effects for the particles for these shots and things is actually really nice. I'm a big fan of that. Cool. So yeah, I guess we just want to build a lot of stuff, right? Make sure we don't die. The mammoth tanks are taking a little long to build, so I'm going to build a second war factory, and I'll be curious how it works in this engine, because by default in Tib Sun, it tends to be a case of you can have multiple production buildings, and it speeds up the rate at which your units produce. But I know in some of the OpenRA games, it actually gives you a separate build queue, so you can have like 2 units being produced at once, one from each different facility. So I will be curious to see what way they opted to go in this mod. Do really like the mammoth tanks here. That's pretty nice. We'll send them down here. Can I repair this? Hopefully I can repair this. Yeah. Nice. So we'll get the second war factory down. Ah, he managed to get it. Damn. That's fine. So we'll make this primary. We'll get a few disruptors. We got the Mark II? Do we have the Mark II? These are all standard mammoth tanks, right? Maybe we lost it? You can only build one per level?
Heavy pushing forward. We will retake the Earth unstoppable.
Ah, here it is. It came out of the dropship bay. That's cool. I really like the model for that. Let's see the projectile. Oh wow, so it does MLRS shots as well as the laser gun. That'll be super useful. That's really cool. We'll go for an EMP cannon here too. So you can see that the additional war factory didn't give us an additional build queue, which is good. I would say that's a good choice in terms of making it feel more like the original games. He's really loving going for these structures with his air units. As far as I know, these can shoot air. Good versus vehicle and aircraft, yeah. Again, a great way to be able to suss that out. We have a couple of super weapons already, so let's get these going. Spy satellite. We'll use the Helldiver drop here and try to take this out. Oh, and they give you quite a few things. Holy crap! They give you some Marines. They give you some medics, jump jet infantry. Wow, this is super powerful. Okay, that's kind of cool. And then we have the ion cannon. So we'll see how strong that is. I guess the war factory is a good test. Is a good test subject, but the ratio on it's pretty big. Okay, that's a pretty cool effect. Holy shit, that's nice. They did not like me attacking them one bit. Gonna survive here. Hopefully we will. Enemy commando detected. I do like the vocal lines giving you a little heads up in terms of, I'm assuming this is the commando unit. Yeah, Toxic Commando. I do like that they give you a heads up if there's an engineer nearby, or else that there's something similar. It seems that they actually prompt you when your opponent has a super weapon built. So on the top left we can see it says chemical missile. So that's pretty cool. We'll get a few of these. I can't seem to be able to build elite guards. I think did I lose my tech center? Was that what happened? I have to replace it. Then I should be able to rebuild the Mark II, or rebuild the stuff that I want. Nice. When you're low power, all your super weapons go on hold too. That's to be expected. Some nice fire visuals too for these damage structures. Looks very nice. They're going for more air units here, so I'm actually going to get a bunch of MLRS and a bunch of these, get a power plant, and start spamming out the power turbines again. Push your units forward a little bit. Put them on guard mode. Come up here. We should probably get an engineer and see if we can capture this thing. I imagine the AI's already done that. Yeah, so they've already gotten some ownership over it. Not quite sure why these aren't attacking. There we go. Do I have a power plant for this? I do. And then we can get that back down. We should be able to build these elite evil guards again. We get a good few of those. They seem good. Super weapon's been launched. That's a little bit worrying. What's it gonna hit? What's the priority likely to be? Guess you went for the units. So you can get your power plant down and immediately upgrade it. It's pretty cool. So I'm alive, but just about. I need to make sure I'm building tanks, get a few more juggernauts. I like that the juggernauts, they actually went in for like the double turrets, it looked like, instead of triple turrets for the unit. It's a little bit different. Helps make it stand out a bit. He actually using it. He seems to be, the AI seems to be quite well adept at dealing with different units and stuff. Like, it's not just letting me come in and wreck it. Control Nor, the hotkey for repair. Nice. Some cool debris effects here as well. What am I missing? Unit ready. Firestorm we haven't seen. I'm trying to get one of those down so we can check it out. In the meantime, I'll build a few more mammoth tanks. And what is this? Okay, I'm glad we got that. It looked quite daunting to say the least. Have I rebuilt my engineer yet? I have not. So we got a bunch of our infantry here, we'll move them up. Firestorm generator. Can I build the actual Firestorm grates? I don't think I can. Generator that can generate a barrier around it. Also generates a barrier around it to protect the units. Huh. Oh, you kind of deploy it. I see. I wonder if if I have a unit in its radius, or how? Oh, it's got the timer actually built onto the thing itself. You can see it here. That's pretty cool. We'll get our drop pod down. Do it here. Why not? This seems really powerful as a kind of super weapon ability. I imagine that's been an interesting thing for them to try and balance. What I need is more war factories. I've got plenty of money, I'm just not producing fast enough. Base under attack. Oh, there's the nuke going down. It's a pretty cool effect. It's nice graphical impact. This guy seems to be cloaking. We'll get one of these. We'll get another one. We'll capture this damn thing, yeah. Just you wait. We'll set this thing with a relay point all the way up to here. Alright, this is the one. We're gonna get it, boys. Nice. So this gives you a little timer. The engineers don't instantly go into buildings and it flashes, so it's kind of nice if you're in competitive plays that you have a bit of notification if one of your structures is going to get captured. It's less kind of nonsense dealing with the cheese strat of an opponent who's just going to absolutely screw you over for no good reason. Here we can try his iron cannon. That's a pretty cool effect. Not gonna lie, that's very satisfying. That's a little worrying. Seems to have got it. That seems to be like nods, kind of like the equivalent of a nod worker bomber. We'll use the drop pods again, put them here and see if we can take out the nuke. Getting vision on your opponent when they build a structure like this is actually really useful. Well, obviously useful, but I imagine it's super annoying if you're trying to keep these things alive. I'd be curious if you're against GDI, for example, if you see the location of like the drop pod launcher or else the ion cannon generator. Because it kind of makes it a lot more vulnerable, especially as Nod, and you've got, usually I would expect the Nod faction here to have like subterranean units. But yeah, it's interesting, the Juggernaut here, you can't actually deploy it, it just stays on its two little legs. But I guess that's the trade-off they made. They just decided we'll give them the double barrel and just let them be mobile only. Which is cool, it's nice to see them go with something a little bit different. Okay.
Silos needed. Low power. Primary building set. Unit ready.
What I'm going to need to do is expand a bit more after I get power sorted. So I think I'll get my power sorted and move my Conyard up towards this part of the map, which I think should be safe-ish. I do like the ability to be able to get a power plant and then get that little additional turbine pretty quick. It's a nice, just quality of life thing. Okay, take our Conyard, bring it over here and deploy.
Push heavy armor advancing.
The range on the EMP will be an interesting one.
Base under attack. Unit ready. Unit ready.
That's a little bit concerning.
Preparing.
Select target.
Unit ready.
You can see the ratio here. So it's you can't do it within the immediate radius of the EMP pulse, but you can do it within this larger radius.
Unit ready.
That's cool. So we'll deploy this. We'll get the MLRS over here. Oops. And we'll get ourselves a refinery.
Unit ready.
So this means we'll set up a forward racks in the one factory here and then push into the enemy. What's this? Spy satellite? Another neutral structure? Oh, they're on both sides. That's cool. Would have been probably useful a bit earlier on. We'll see what that actually gives us.
Building.
Maybe it'll remove the actual fog of war on the map. That would be fantastic.
Construction complete.
But we'll see. Get our engineer on the case.
Unit ready.
Meanwhile, we'll put our refinery down. Here, somewhere. Hello. There we go. We'll actually get a war factory up here, just so it's closer. We're going to be building up more tanks than we are anything else. So we're going to capture the spy satellite.
Complete.
Take a little bit.
Building captured.
Okay. I mean,
Base
it
under attack.
gives us some vision, but
Unit ready. Target preparing.
so the spy satellite gives us some vision, but it doesn't seem to like unlock an ability to see the entire map like a GPS satellite or something. Go on, lads, take out the ref. And we're gonna sacrifice these men. Take out the refinery. It's pretty cool. Oh wow,
Unit ready.
that took out my entire army here. Holy crap. Okay, that's a little scary.
Unit ready.
That took out a load of my army. Like I had a whole load of mammoth tanks over here. That seems a little bit on the dramatic side. I do like that you can group your structures here and see all your different rally points. That's definitely different. Not something I've really seen before.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. On my way. Unit moving out. Unit received. Waiting orders.
Construction complete.
Get our forward war factory here.
Building.
I do have the racks here as well.
Building set.
So we'll get a few of the Eagle Guards, a few of the anti-air units. I don't think the manual infantry is such a big deal, but we get a few.
Unit ready. Unit ready.
Da-da-da. How we doing?
Select target.
So we can use this to see what's going on with their base.
Ready.
So there's got a stealth generator here.
Unit
Can use my next drop pods next to it and take it out. Seems to be like a decent choice, right?
Unit ready.
Warning. Super weapon has been detected.
Construction complete.
Super weapon's been detected. Okay, so they got the Temple of Nod here and they got their missile thing here. So this will change it up a bit. I'm gonna have to put my units around this and try to take this down. So I'm assuming that this is going to give you access to a special nuke compared to the chemical weapon. I imagine what was used here was the bigger nuke, but hard to say for sure because I didn't see it.
Unit ready.
But we'll figure it out once we play as the Nod faction. Cool. So we'll get the drop pods, like, because it's in this little radius area. Do this. See if we can get a.
Unit lost.
It's gonna be a little bit a little bit rough, but we might make it.
Unit lost.
I think what I also need to do is get a couple of helipads on the go to get like orca bombers or similar.
Unit
That's
lost.
annoying. I should get some SAM sites set up because they're going to keep peppering me with these guys, and I can't keep moving my army around up, down, left, right to deal with it. We'll take out this spike. I'm not going to try contest it and capture it because they'll likely just attack me as soon as I go for it. Really like the model for the Mark II. Even like rotating turret, it's pretty damn cool. They haven't expanded up here. It looked like that their logic wasn't really made for it.
Unit ready.
Okay, so we're gonna put. Oh, we can't put our thing here again. I'm so not used to not being able to build off my structures. It's a very different way of playing. What do I want to build here? I'll build a few Wolverines, I guess, and hope I can get them out. Put this on primary. Ouch! They're coming at me pretty rough. I guess I can just try push in here. The best defense is a counterattack, right? Disable these. Yeah, power. Get ready to give advanced power. Yeah. Cool. Go for the power first. Keep our obelisks out of commission. Tends to usually be the effective way of dealing with the AI. Knock out their power. Keep their power out. Okay, feels pretty cool, not gonna lie. The explosion effects are really nice. Even the these laser cannon effects are pretty cool too. Little rail guns. Big fan of that. Think we have it, guys. Took us a while, but we got there. So I guess, yeah, I think GDI's faction here is pretty fun. I think the ion cannon was amazing. I think the drop pods were super effective too. They seem to be making the super weapons very critical to, I imagine, even competitive play, because like the pure damage in those things, as soon as you put one down, exposing vision to it, I imagine it's just going to have your opponent like immediately charging to you, so it's going to create some interesting scenarios if you do manage to take up that far in terms of what your opponent has access to and how they're going to approach essentially taking you out, right? I also do really like the fact that they've got the slow engineer effect. So it's very much a case that you don't just instantly lose your unit the second the infantry touches it, which has always been a ridiculous thing in CNC games. Nice. And he also, I guess it's worth noting there, he still had the thing in the back, the oil derrick equivalent, under his control. Because it's a neutral structure, the game still registered as a win for me, so I didn't have to go kill it, which is very nice. The score is actually not that far off, so that's kind of cool. In terms of it being an easy AI, I guess it's just a matter of being more familiar with the engine and optimizing what you're getting up to. It does let you return to map to have a look at it, so you can scout it out a little bit. But we're just going, well, I mean, we can do the return to map thing just to show it off. You can see the timer at the top, 30 minutes, 54 seconds, information. You can have a look through economy, combat. So this stuff is pretty cool. And they had the replay functionality, so you could go into a game and catch the, this is part of the OpenRA engine. I've seen it in Red Alert and TD before. You can actually see what every player is producing in terms of their structures and units. So it's super cool from a spectating perspective. And to learn your own builds, you just watch opponents' replays, right? So that's really cool to see. So that was GDI that we looked at. Hopefully we can take what we learned here and apply it to some other factions. We'll try Mutant Nod this time, and we'll go up against just the Mutants for the hell of it. We'll mix it up a bit, mix and match, see how we do. We'll try a lighter blue color Nod, 'cause it's a bit more unusual. The Mutants, what color do you want the Mutants? We go like a pinkish color for the mutants, just to mix it up. And yeah, this looks good. We'll try a different map. Las Palmas. So the last one was 102 by 208. It tells you the dimensions here. Huge. This one's huge as well. I'd like one that's maybe not huge. The only one that's not huge is the first one. Okay, and that's designated as large, so we'll go with that. Left versus right. It seems pretty open. The idea being that you want to crawl downwards, I guess. Yeah, let's give this one a go. See how it fares. As Nod, your units are pretty quick anyway, so a larger map probably favors them, to be honest, in the mid to long game. But like, we're just against the AI experimenting. So immediately the MCV is looking very different here. Very bulky, very chunky. I like it. And we saw the deployed version of this in our opponent the last time. I do like this model. It's pretty cool. So fair play to them for putting the work in and not just being tempted to just use the default. Tiberian Sun Conyard, MCV. So in terms of defensive structures, they've got the laser turret, they've got the SAM, silo, and in here you see the Temple of Nod is in this one. So I suspect you can build the missile, the chemical missile through your regular building tab down here. Yeah, chemical missile silo, and then your actual nuke here. That's pretty cool. We need to get ourselves a Nod refinery. The refinery, as we saw in the last game, looked very true to the original one, which is cool. In terms of infantry here, we got Militants, so this is like a standard minigunner, a Crusader, which is the anti-armor infantry, so this is going to be versus vehicles and aircraft. So it's nicely balanced. They have an option in terms of their infantry to deal with early air pressure. Looks like they've got a couple of cool units here. Got a Templar, it's like a Flame Warrior, a Black Hand Trooper, spawns holograms when ordered to deploy, and that seems pretty cool. Toxin Commando, this is the thing that was spamming us a little bit. You only get one of them. That's interesting. We'll get our refinery down. We'll get 2 of these to open with, again, just so we have a good supply of cash to start out with. And we'll also get an engineer to capture the Tiberium extractor back here. It's pretty cool. I do like a different model for the harvester here as well. It's quite nice. What do we got? What's down here? So I think on a map like this, you probably want to move your Conyard down here and get your second base set up. Then the real thing comes down to contesting the third one in competitive play. In our match, probably not so much. There's your mechanical factory that auto repairs your tanks. There's another chemical or another spike down there. Maybe we'll get an engineer and send it on its own and just hope it survives. So we got our second refinery. We'll build a power plant here and we'll start crawling towards this Tiberium. Again, actually, we don't need to do the crawl because we can just, again, I'm so not familiar with it. I'll get the weapons factory first and then I'll just move my Conyard over here and redeploy. That'll be pretty cool. Laser turret. I don't think we really want... These tend to be quite weak in Tib Sun games. They're useful against early infantry pressure, or if like you're in a last-ditch attempt to try and hold the line when the opponent's right on top of you. I mean, we can try cap the top thing this as well. See how it goes. Gonna build a bunch more just infantry to have. I feel a little bit exposed. I'm not super familiar with how the AI behaves, and we got a little bit overrun the last time we were playing, so just to kind of account for that, we'll bring these infantry a little bit far forward. So I guess the key things I want to do is try and keep stuff centralized so it's easier to defend, rather than what I'm more inclined to do, which is build my base in a more crawling fashion. Which is it's definitely a different way of thinking about these missions, but I can see the appeal to it for sure. Okay, we'll get a refinery set up here, and then we'll move our Conyard all the way down towards the bottom, I think. Nice. Again, it's cool, you can see the capturing speed here.
Building captured.
Yoink. I'm sure the AI is not going to take that kindly. Similar to other Tib Sun games as well, worth mentioning, this does have, similar to when you press like Q move, you can do shift, queue up a bunch of waypoint movements for them. It does have this benefit of the actual toolbar I didn't mention on the bottom left. so you can actually select a unit and have all these options available to you. So force move, attack move, so control and A and right click. So you can do control A and move, which is pretty nice, or you can just do control and attack the ground. Cool having the multiple options available. Yeah, let's get a couple of extra harvesters here. And then let's see, a radar buggy, so very standard. You usually expect not to have some kind of early buggy. Good versus changes depending on the passenger. The weapon of the vehicle changes with the passenger. Okay, that's cool. Stealth detection, that's also cool. Infantry inside deal 20% extra damage. That's interesting. So we'll try get different units and experiment with that. We'll go towards our radar tech now. Let's see. So here's our militant, and here's an example of our little rocket man dude, who is called a Crusader. These guys are going to die. I'm going to lose this up here. Mutants coming in with the Tiberian Fiends and a quad cannon. Those models look pretty cool, but I'm a little bit scared, not going to lie. We want to get a few Tic Tanks, I think. So here's a buggy. By default, it seems to have some kind of machine gun. So if we send a militant, I wonder if this will change it. Yeah, you can see the turret on top change too. That's cool. And then if we send in the Crusader here, force this guy to shoot. Wow, this is a lot of stuff. Are you kidding me? You for real with this? Yikes. Okay. Run. Can we save it? I don't think we can save it. I think we're gonna have to reload this. Yeah, that's gonna be a rip. Okay, we'll restart.
Establishing battlefield control. Stand by.
Deploy.
Building.
Alright. So we got the lay of the land. We know the map a little bit better. I was really surprised that he had that much stuff coming at me. That was a lot of stuff. I guess I just need to be really heavy in terms of my early unit production, not be so lenient and focused on eco, and build a lot of early infantry. Maybe we'll try scout him out. We'll get infantry over towards this, so you just capture it straight out of the bat. You can do shift click here to stop queuing a couple of them at a time, so I'll do that just so I can get the engineers up. We'll focus on getting the eco. Keep a few dudes here, just to try and not make it too easy for them. Looks like there's actually a blue tip field up here, so this would be hugely valuable, but it's a little bit slow in terms of actually getting the grow dug. Looks like by default it doesn't have any around it, and you have to just wait for it to grow. Also cool to see that they're using a slightly different model here to show the growth of the blue tip compared to the standard tip trees for the green. It's a little bit different. Okay, we'll send one engineer towards this, and we'll send the other engineer down towards this. Cool. Nice. Okay, I think I need to, at this point, ease up, because the amount of money I'm spending on infantry is probably too much. I do get some idea of their bases. Very cool looking models for the mutant structures. The power plants, barracks, the Conyard. These are all very different looking. You can tell that a good amount of work went into this. We'll focus on trying to capture that. Again, because I only have one ref this time, my production's quite slow, but once I get the war factory up, I'll build a couple of harvesters from it. I think I'll want to build 2 harvesters to get a second ref.
Construction complete.
Again, it's the I think it's the original Tiberian Sun soundtrack, but it's still a good soundtrack. I think I'm just going to get a lot of Tic Tanks. It's going to be good. Even though the radar buggies seem nice, I think against the mutants they tend to have those fiends. which will probably chew through anything that's not going to be heavy hitting, but we'll see.
Building captured. Building.
Not radar. Cool. Okay, we still have the blue tip here.
Insufficient funds.
Enemy engineer detected.
Nice. Gonna be able to block him off. Nice little promotion for him. Well earned. We'll set our waypoint to here. It'll be good. I'm kind of being very conservative here. I'm not spreading out my infantry to have better idea of map vision. Again, I'm kind of spoiled for the older Tiberian game and like a bunch of mods. They tend to just let you have unlimited map vision, so actually having to use your head and be sure to be in strategic points in the map and being aware of where your opponent is a much bigger deal. Deploying here is probably my best option instead of last time going all the way here. And what I'll do is I'll get a little bit of power going. Templar, we'll get a couple of these. Might be good against mutants. Of course, unlike GDI, not only has the power plant, advanced power plant, you don't have access to your little power turbines, but you do get access to the spy satellite, similar to GDI. So that's nice. You can see in the top right, it actually gives you your power indication, so it's minus 30 at the moment. If you hover over it, 130 out of 100.
Yes, all the infidels shall burn. We shall let
Wow, okay. Pretty cool fire effects. And now what I'm going to do is unpack the Conyard, move it, and try secure down here, I think is the best protocol. Bring our tick tank down here first. I'm not sure if the AI has the capability to redeploy, so we just got to be careful about that. In the meantime, not stop building units. We have this demo bike, requires not radar, fast moving suicide vehicle, so I'm assuming you run it and explode it into your enemy and hope they don't shoot it before it hits them. Subterranean EPC, so if you want to sneak engineers into them. But we're going to go for 2 nod refineries down here. We can get a war factory, we can get some turrets set up here too, so it's actually quite a nice position. I can hear the fiends, here they are. So I want to keep all of my attacking units together.
Our base is under attack. Building.
This is dead. He's coming with a vengeance. I'm going to move all of my units back here. Because he's got a lot of stuff coming my way.
Construction complete. Construction complete.
And of course I can't put my laser down here, but I can put it here just in case he attacks down this way. Oh, this is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt. Can we survive? That is going to be the question. So I'll stick these on guard mode. Might? I don't know. I think we're going to be okay this time. We want to get our tech center in the meantime while we're messing around with that. Yeah, that's right, you better run. Focus on power after the tech center. Probably want to get a couple of SAM sites because we haven't seen Orca yet. I have a feeling they're going to come. Yeah, we did well. Okay, okay. We got further than the last time. This is a good sign. Ah, we're going to see the laser turret save our... actually save our Conyard. That's cool. So we'll put a SAM site down here too. And then after the tech center and power, we're going to get another ref down here. We'll probably get a couple radar buggies at this point. Nice. So tech center. So now we can build black hand troopers. Good versus ground targets. We get a few of those, and the toxin commandos, quite expensive. Demolish structures with C4. cloaks when idling, cannot be mind controlled. Crush class crushable. Cool that they give you like the crush class, so you can actually tell if your unit is going to be vulnerable to that or not. I'll get more power first, or more power after this ref, and then we'll get the missile silo.
Our base is under attack.
What have we got going on here?
Unit ready.
Oh, cool little model, a queen. Okay.
Repairing.
Oh, that sucks. Can none of these hit up? Really? Alright. Because I'm so used to not having access to a regular bike. Not the one that's going to blow itself up. So, I guess I want to invest in SAM sites.
Our base is
I
under
can't
attack.
have SAM sites in the main base.
Sir, orders received.
Oh, this is so annoying.
Building.
Like, I don't really have mobile anti-air, which feels bizarre as nod. I guess I can put the racks down, and then I'll be able to... don't you dare capture this. You kidding me? I need to just get the racks down and like pump out a bunch of units that can... Yeah, in that order. Pump out a bunch of units that can deal with it. None of these really anti-air, does this not shoot up? I guess you can have radar buggies with the rocket men inside of it and we'll be able to shoot up. We have a Spectre, good versus ground targets, and we've got a stealth tank. I guess we'll build these and we'll build the Dragon Devil's Tongue. I'll build Devil's Tongue too, but for now we're going to have to focus on getting a lot of anti-air Crusaders. Like 20 of them or something crazy, so that doesn't happen to us again. And then we're going to be wanting to get a steady supply. I guess Tic Tanks is the best regular thing to get. Get a couple more of these. Temple of Nod too. Yeah. Repair any of our damaged structures. Nice to be able to repair the civilian ones here too. So there's some of our Crusaders, and bring them back to the main base area. Try and defend it. We do have our anti-visibility thing here, a spy satellite, so we can see how our opponent's base is doing. I guess here. You can see a lot of air units coming. A lot of them. Can the stealth tanks shoot air? Good versus vehicles and aircraft, they can. Nice. I guess we'll get a helipad just to show. I'm assuming they'll have access to Banshees, and there's that other weird vehicle that they had last time that seemed very powerful. This is nice. You got the old dragons. What I might do is just build a lot of these and send them all in at once. Here we have this. I want to make sure we have enough power. We're going to get, so the Harpy carry-all, which requires service depot, you can transport vehicles with it. Banshee is more kind of standard, and there's this Paladin Cruiser. You can have more than one. High-tech frigate armed with a mobile stealth generator. Cloaks friendly units next to it. Yeah. So you can kind of move your, it kind of reminds me of like the Protoss mothership. Kind of cloaks the units that stay around with it. It's very powerful in terms of not letting your opponent know your army composition. I can see that being very useful. I guess we'll get like 3 helipads, so we can get a couple of Banshees too. We want to send some more of these this way for defense purposes. We're still building tanks. Good, good. We stopped building infantry, so I guess we can go on a Toxin Commando now. Oh, we got a lot of guys. So I guess we want to pull our way over to here. And we're going to want power, and then we're going to want a couple of these obelisks. Whoa, no. So much stuff. Ah. Am I gonna be okay? I don't think I am. He's hammering me with all this kind of stuff. Wow. I mean, you can deploy these tic tacs too, but like, I don't necessarily know if that's going to be a huge help. Shit. I think I'm dead. Yeah, I think that's nice. Absolutely wrecked. Interesting. I'd be curious if that's just because of the absolute power of the mutant faction, or what the situation is here. Because he just seemed to have so much stuff. I guess my army wasn't the right composition of units to try and counter it. Maybe a lot more of the dragon tongues and dragon units would be good against the mass infantry side of it. I'm not quite sure about the fiends, whether they're like armored or not armored, so it's hard to say how impactful that is. Didn't get to fire off the chemical missile at the nuke, but we saw them the atomic bomb, sorry. But we saw them use it against us as GDI, so we'll move on to playing the next faction, I think. But this is just like a good way of seeing all the different structures and units and makeup of it, and how good or not so good it can be against certain army compositions. It was interesting. It's cool to see the effect of these structures as well. The Tiberian extractors, they're definitely useful in keeping your eco up. Without them, it just takes too long, like way too long. And it's cool to see some of those mutant structures, but we'll get to see them firsthand soon. But yeah, GG's. You could see, it's cool actually in the pause menu, you can see the score of the different factions as well. I didn't realize that.
Battle control terminated.
Yeah, cool. GG's mutants. Owned. Absolutely owned. Next up, we'll play as the mutants. I'll play as mutants against Nod. Let's see how they like it when the tables are turned a little bit. This time, why don't we go for the like kind of traditional green mutant look against Nod playing as gold. Just to mix it up, have them representing the GDI colors. Although if we're green, we should do something a bit more contrasting, right? Purple? Yeah, we'll go with purple Nod. We'll choose a different map. It might be a case that it was kind of partially down to map size, and that demonstrates why these larger maps are more popular for balance reasons. But let's try, I guess, this one. Cliffs of Asvetia. Competitive map, 2 players, created by Ixeth. It's a name I've heard before around the community a few times. And yeah, we'll go for this. Mutants. Curious to see what the tech tree's like. So again, very unique looking MCV. Interesting, nice, tired sounding voice actor. Appreciate it. I do like the MCV appearance. It reminds me very much of the like the ones for the Soviets around Alert 2 a little bit. And I do also like the aesthetic of the power plants. It's very cool. Where am I wanting to go? I guess it doesn't particularly matter. Again, I'm moving my Conyard, so it's fine. Taking ownership of this seems huge. All the blue tip in the middle. So in a competitive setting, that would be what you would go for. Okay, so infantry. So this fiend is actually classed as biological, I guess. It's part of the URAX. So marauders, wasteland soldiers armed with shotguns. We'll get some of those. Tiberian fiends. They're good versus vehicle and aircraft. Okay. Heals on Tiberian can attack air, so it's interesting that they get that. Again, it's their kind of equivalent to like GDI and Nod's thing. It seems every faction has instant access to that. They have what's called a mutant engineer, which I guess for balance reasons they want to make sure that the mutants can capture structures too, right? It would be extremely unfair if they couldn't. For sure. Cool. We'll get this. I guess we'll get it. We'll try fit in. I guess we'll have to move our Conyard early. We'll move it a little bit far forward because getting this doesn't look like a 2 ref field to me. So we'll move it forward a little bit and get our second ref deployed here. It should be fine. Here. Forgotten Refinery. That's pretty cool. So they're going with the Forgotten theme a little bit. No! Wow, that was... that could have been absolutely disastrous. Wow. So the AI loves sending those early engineers, huh? Not sure I like that. Let's cancel this. We'll try to get an engineer, see if we can take ownership of the spike here. Alright. Sending forward. Okay. I was like trying to figure out where the entrance to the blue tib is. Seems to be here or down here. So just trying to think in terms of like my next expansion where I want to go. So I want to get 2 ref here. So 1 ref here, 2 ref. This looks like 2 ref. There's like 2 tib trees. Nice. Yeah, aesthetically, I really like it. The lighting effects of the tib 2 is very nice. This is a slightly darker map, but like you can see the contrast looks very cool. Big fan. In terms of their actual structures, the defensive structure here is a bunker. Requires a mutant armory. Fortified position where infantry can fire from within. Good versus depends what's been garrisoned. So it seems to be taking advantage again of this idea of having garrison structures. Low power, so we'll build a power plant, a war factory, and then move our conyard down towards here, I guess. Is probably good. These guys can deploy, which increases their health and attack range. Huh. That's interesting. So kind of like a GI. Yeah, so it's very similar to like a GI from Red Alert 2. That's kind of cool. It's different. So we got a mutant radar and a service depot. We'll get the mutant radar up and running. Yeah, we want to get a war factory set up here and then move down because I this time I'm not going to forget. I'm not going to forget that we cannot build off our structures up here, so once we move the MCV, it's very much like it's very much gone. This is a very secure looking field. The blue is more tempting, but it's way more exposed, so we need to be just cautious of that. So here's a radar. We'll put it back here. It doesn't particularly need to be exposed up front, and then we'll get a mutant war factory. We can get a few skirmishers here. Requires mutant radar, siege militia, armed with mortars. Good versus infantry and buildings. Heals on Tiberium, high attack range. Has a minimum attack distance. Applies a radiation damage on impact. Cool. Can shoot over walls, and it's crushable. Alright, we'll get a few of those. And then we'll get a bunch of those tib fiends. They seem really effective, so we'll get a whole bunch of those, and then a couple of marauders for good measure.
Watch my guard. I got your titanium shells. Advancing.
I do like the.
These are our lands now. Barricades ready.
I do like the voice acting they put in for some of those units. It's pretty cool. It gives it a real like nice, unique feeling, and it's pretty consistent throughout, which is cool. Okay, so we're gonna wanna undeploy you and send you down here.
Interesting.
I'll send a few units with you. Okay, so we now have access to tanks. So what we got? We got a quad cannon. It's an armored truck. Special stealth detection, can crush infantry. And then we got a lynx tank. It's a light tank armed with an anti-tank unit. So this is infantry and aircraft. This is kind of like a Gatling thing, I guess. The quad cannon. It's like infantry, aircraft, that kind of thing. And then we got the lynx tank, which is good versus vehicles. And then battle bus, combat transport. This is like an APC. That's a cool idea. I like the idea of it just being a bus that they've hijacked.
Let's come on.
So here's our quad cannon. Yeah, so it is very much like a Gatling kind of setup. That's cool. I like that. It's different, you know. We want to get a refinery down here. There's a Lynx tank. Do you like these models? They're pretty cool. Nice. Oh, that was a nice little drift action going on. It's pretty cool. Pretty sick. What have we got here now? We have the battle bus. This unit requires mutant radar. Tiberian beast that uses Tiberium acid to harm nearby units. Good versus ground targets. Heals on Tiberium. Attacks reduce target attack speed by 35%. Can you take killed units? EMP immune. Has self heal. Cannot be mind controlled. Can enter tunnels. All right. I mean, they sound good.
Unit ready.
Try and place these so I can get 2 of them here. So like 1 here and 1 here, maybe. The power plant. I'm gonna have to put this in a bit of an exposed position if I even can. Not sure if I can build down this cliff yet. It's gonna be a little bit spicy. What else we got here now? We got Forgotten Cannon, requires Mutant War Factory, anti-armor base defense, flak stations, anti-air, and of course a silo EMP cannon. Tunnel network allows players to quickly transport units across the battlefield. The building has a shared cargo storage. Infantry can enter the tunnel built and exit on any other. That seems cool. So I could build like a tunnel here and a tunnel here and connect the two. Seems interesting. Oh, come on, let me build this. Oh, can I build it here? Can I build it back here? Yes, I can. Nice. Okay. I'll go to refinery. Keep building some of those. Build some more of these. Some of these. Some of these. I guess we'll go for a couple of. See if we can get cannons over the cliff here, but probably not. Just to try and fortify that a bit better. This guy has a radius. This is the quad cannon.
Unit ready.
Where to? I'm ready for anything. Tiberium is all we have left.
Unit ready. Unit
The
ready.
engine is perfect. Let's go.
Ready.
I'm ready for anything.
Unit ready.
Nice. Okay, well I'm getting a bit more time at least to try not die here, which is always nice.
Unit ready.
Okay, and I can actually build down below now, which is also great. I'm gonna build a racks down here just so it's easy to reinforce with units if I need to. And we need to upgrade pretty quick and get ourselves a tech center. Mutant helipad, Forgotten Hall. So the Forgotten Hall is like their equivalent, I guess. Why can't I like build down on the cliff? It's fine, I'll move the MCV. I just wish I didn't have to. Mutant helipad, Forgotten Hall. I need power first, then this, then this, then this. Gotcha.
Construction complete. Building.
Nice.
Tiberium is our Tiberium.
Try and take this out.
Construction complete.
Pretty cool effects. I do like the kind of glow in the darky effect. And again, like the fire and the little particles, it's very cool. I'm a big fan of that. If we stop building tanks, I think we have. So let's get some more of these Carno tours. Which are these big guys? Yeah. So you can see a kind of sample of the attack type there. So he's starting to come there towards the center, which is okay, because we can meet him here. That's fine. Be sure to put this forward. Be sure to put this forward. Get a few of these quad cannons. Nice, nice. Put these on guard mode. Let him push into us. Nice. And this is our... what is this? The Forgotten Hall.
Unit boss. New construction options.
Yeah, low power. I'm working on it. So we managed to survive this, right? Sweet. It's pretty good. This guy's stuck.
I'm giving a heart rate at bonus now.
Nice. So we get a power plant, stick that down, and then we should be able to build up here. So mutant helipad and power, the mutant fame hall. With this structure, mutant commanders are able to summon Vein-Hole monster. That seems cool. What else we got? We got a couple new units here. An Irradiator MLRS. Requires Forgotten Hall, light artillery armed with unguided Tiberian rockets. Sounds cool. We got a Ravager, melee beast from the outer red zones that brings death with its claws. Good versus ground targets. Heals on Tiberium, has self-heal, EMP immune, cannot be mind controlled, can enter tunnels, and then a demo truck. Get him! Get him! Ooh. That was a little bit on the too close for comfort side. We'll get a tunnel network set up and just possibly move our Conyard back up here and set up a tunnel network and see if we can like just get units going between them just to show it off. Tunnel network, I guess we're going to put it back here, right? We have some turrets set up. We have new infantry access, a Tyrant. Good versus vehicle. This one requires the Forgotten Hall. Good versus vehicle and aircraft can persuade friendly units to fight harder when deployed. Buffed units will get 20% extra attack speed, move speed, and receive 20% more damage. Effects last 15 seconds longer. Heals at Tiberium. Can attack air, can shoot over walls. Crush glass crushable. And this is like the hero unit, I guess. Lyra the Stormcaller. Requires the Forgotten Hall. Forgotten Commando. Pure Strain. Forgotten that can call down lightning. Okay, that sounds cool. Good versus group of units. Max supply of 1. Heals in Tiberium. Strong AoE. Nice. Okay, sounds pretty badass. We'll get more of the MLRSs and Ravagers. In terms of their air units, we have a Gargoyle, heavy assault gunship. They've got a Carryall. They've got a Queen, which we saw attack us earlier. Can mutate killed enemy units. Lays eggs versus deploy, which later hatches crabs that are hostile to anyone. Interesting. And a Falcon. This requires the Forgotten Hall. So this is like their siege air unit, I guess. So we get one of those. Good versus ground targets. Can mutate killed enemy units. It's cool. So the thing I'm kind of picking up from this is the mutant faction has a lot of emphasis in terms of self heal and chilling on Tib, and having like these deployable abilities. And this, which is pretty damn cool. They're like commando unit just calling down lightning. That's super awesome. Here's the irradiator MLRS. So you can see it fires off the rockets, and then leaves behind a bunch of the Tiberian gas, toxic gas. What else we got? There's like another Gatling, quad cannon. Oh yeah, this is the other guy, right? The Ravager. Very much seems like a melee attack. That's pretty cool. Like overall, the aesthetic to this is amazing, I would say, to be honest. We got a couple of air units here we can show off too. So we got the Gargoyle, which seems like a more standard like Hind / Apache. So that's cool. And then we got the Queen unit here, which this is the thing that lays eggs, right? When deployed, that later hatches the crabs.
Super weapon has been detected.
So this thing is just like wow. That seems incredibly powerful. Does this thing have to recharge? No, I guess not, right? It keeps firing indefinitely. That seems crazy. Okay, let's get a whole load of those. I guess we'll go in here and deploy the eggs, because we're not going to try and contest this for the moment. And we can try deploy. Have it lay eggs and then run away. Or just like stop there and wait for these to hatch. Man, that's cool. The mother vein hole. We need to get power. And here we have the ability. So vein hole spawn a cluster of vein holes in the targeted location. Vein holes spawn glass clouds, radiation, and Tiberian crabs. They also provide vision. Cool. This guy got killed, so I'm guessing they showed up to help deal with what we brought them. Here's the Falcon. This is the special air unit. Let's see. Can we force it to? Yeah, we can force it to attack a light post. Damn, that's cool. Lighting effects very nice as well. Yeah. So now we want to bring our Conyard, which is here. Can I get it out here? Oh, don't tell me I locked him in. Ooh, close. Okay. So we're gonna move him all the way back to the corner here. We're gonna set our airship to, or our helipad to send units over this direction. Cool. What else we got? Mutant MCV requires a service depot. That's to be expected. Same with the carryall, but they do have access to it. You get a bunch of tyrants. I get a couple of Tiberian fiends, a couple of skirmishes. The music seems to have stopped for some reason. Not sure what that's about. Let's play a random track. Why not? So we deploy this thing here and get another tunnel just to see how it works. Where's the tunnel? Is it here? Yeah, it's here.
Unit ready.
There's also this meditation hall. It seems like the super weapon of choice. Gives you an ion storm, so I'm guessing it's going to be kind of similar to the ion cannon. We'll move this dude into the network here. Oh, and I wonder if it's just like every one. Yeah, and then you can undeploy and he's just here. That's cool. Can I send tanks? I can't send vehicles into the network. That makes sense, right?
Unit ready.
There's a tyrant. Again, the tyrants are these infantry that you can deploy.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready.
There's Lyra.
Unit ready.
There's like quite a lot to each one of these individual units. I imagine it would take some time before you can actually get familiar enough to be super comfortable with a faction like this, but I imagine you can do some crazy stuff. Feels very they got the devil's tongues here to deal with the eggs, I guess. Nice. The idea of having this flying unit that doesn't have the ability to recharge seems so scary to me. But I guess there's good reasons for all that. Where's my racks? Here's my rack. If I put my racks onto the actual tunnel network, I wonder if it'll send the... This says good versus infantry and buildings. What's good versus aircraft here? Tiberian fiends? Okay. I'm curious if I have this rallied onto the actual tunnel network, will they enter or not? I mean, it's not a big deal if they don't, it's just more of a curiosity thing. Yeah, it doesn't quite do it. We can get vision of our opponent's base, so we can hear them being stealth generated all over the place. It's cool having these little pad locations on the map, so it's easy for me to spot where their Conyard would roughly expect it to be. And then the vein hole spawn here. I'm not sure if this will spawn it at the actual vein hole itself, if I can choose a location. Looks like I can choose the location, so of course we're going to do it in their base. That's cool! Wow, okay. So this is just spawning in a bunch of like these neutral Just a whole bunch of like vein holes, gas, radiation, and those Tiberian crabs, I guess is what those are.
Subterranean. Unit
Cool.
unit base under attack.
Repair whatever's going on here.
Unit ready. Silence.
Put all these guys into the tunnel and take them out of this one. Hell yeah.
Super weapon has been detected.
Ooh. They're coming for me. If I stop building units, I think I have. Again, not ideal. Don't really want to be doing that. Come on, fiends, take down the aircraft. That's why I built you. Damn, I'm gonna need some good anti-air. What's a good anti-air unit? I'm just kind of spamming these at random, but I clearly need a good anti-air unit. Quad cannons, I guess, like flak tracks. Yeah. Okay. And I mean, since he's out of position, I can probably push in up here along the top. Gonna lose all this. That's fine. I mean, it's a bit sad, but it's fine. We'll change our rally points of these things. One thing I will say is that these skirmishes, I would have expected them to be able to shoot up just because of the nature of the icon. It reminds me of rocket men, which you would associate with that. But it just says here versus infantry and buildings, so yeah, I'm not going to be using those to shoot and be our anti-air defenses. That's fine. Cool little aesthetics up here with the old wrecked buildings. I like that too.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Yeah, I think this is going to be another L for Team Danku, but we've gotten to see all the units, which is the key thing here. It's like a bit of a base trade scenario, like he's got those huge aircraft. So I'm thinking maybe as nod, your strength is going to be these Paladin cruisers. Whereas as the mutant faction, it's going to just be the way that you utilize your various units and their special perks in synergy, and also being able to take advantage of Tiberium and heating up against that. It does seem like they don't naturally have, or like from my just general army composition here, I wasn't particularly paying a lot of attention in terms of what I was building, and that's kind of been quite a negative thing for dealing with like the mass air units. So a lot of these aren't natively anti-air, or at least just happen to be that the units I selected weren't naturally anti-air, which is fine. But you can see here I've kind of like lost a huge amount of my units to these Paladin cruisers, which the AI just absolutely spammed. Which is okay. We'll see if these guys can actually deal with it. So it's been primarily the quad cannons that I've been building. We'll see if we can make them do the job. Maybe we can pull this back. Be nice to get a win.
Unit ready. Building. Unit ready.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. I like the idea of the tunnels especially. I think that plays into the strengths of this mod, where you actually are required to move your conyard around in order to expand, and being able to quickly move your infantry between those bases, and being able to move between any of them, so you could have them deployed at like 4, 5, 6 locations, not just 1 or 2. That seems really effective and like enables you to have a highly mobile army. And it seems that the infantry for mutants, at least here, is quite powerful and useful for dealing with that. Okay, how's our anti-air force here? Are we going to be able to do some serious damage?
Come on, come on!
Just sticking them on guard mode and seeing how they hold up. Are they gonna do it? No, they're gonna die. Okay, I could spend time building up my forces again and attacking them, but I think we've gotten from this a good look at what the mutants look like in terms of what their strengths are versus their weaknesses. And you can see the score differential here too. It's cool. That's really nice. I would say if I was playing this game so far, that would be the faction that I would play the most with. It would take some practice, but I think that would be the most enjoyable for me personally. So far, there's still 2 more factions. We got CABAL and the Scrin. So we've seen neither of these factions, so let's play as CABAL. I think traditionally CABAL tends to be like a dark bluish color, so we'll go with that. And the Scrin tend to be like a deep purple, right? So we'll try this. We'll use a different map. What have we got going? Consuming Sands. Yeah, okay. Competitive multiplayers created by V. Tremplar. Nice. A little bit of an island here. I haven't seen any. I mean, it's kind of traditional with Tiberian Sun. You don't tend to see a lot of naval usage. There are a couple of mods, like, you know, Dawn the Tiberian Mage, that have implemented it. But for the most part, Tiberian Sun tends to focus more around the hovering craft and stuff like that. So it's interesting. We'll go into this. So CABAL versus Scrin. I'm expecting CABAL. I think they usually tend to have a lot of the nod-based tech. Ah, cool little cool mobile construction vehicle. Already Firestorm power plant. Okay, we got a whole bunch of new models here as well. It's nice to see. A drone pit appears to be their default turret of choice. Launches bomber drones. Good versus infantry. Provides stealth detection. Drones can be shot down with anti-air weapons. Huh. Okay. There's a little power plant. And here's our claw. It's kind of like a take on like the nod hand, right? It's the CABAL claw. Do like the looks of this. Again, pretty cool.
Construction complete.
We haven't been looking too much in terms of the actual. We'll build one of these to see what it looks like. We'll build a few cyborg infantry, missile cyborgs. Again, you have your standard anti-air unit, and here's our swarming. Good versus buildings can capture enemy in normal buildings. Yeah, so that's like our engineer. That's cool. Yeah, we haven't like taken in a huge amount of time to admire the maps we've been using so far, but I'm pretty impressed with the layout of a lot of them. You can tell that they're based on trying to be symmetrical and like efficient, while also having like these points of contention, so that players in a more competitive setting will, you know, have to butt heads, and whoever gets there first tends to have a huge advantage. So we'll try and take this spike here just as an example of one of those points. We'll open up with 2 of these refs, and then we'll get a second power plant. So here's our missile cyborg, and then the regular cyborg with the chain guns, I'm assuming. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Here we got like the bridge, but like it's non-repairable, so to get out to this island you would need to use is it carry-all or something equivalent to capture this, which could be cool.
Insufficient funds.
Cancel this. What do we want? I guess we'll get the power first, then we'll get the refinery. This engineer will let us hopefully take ownership of this thing. It's a cool little bug.
Construction complete.
Using like the drone sound effects, I think. The little input drones. It's pretty cool. It's clever reuse of assets. Do like the model for the claw here. It's nice. I tell you, this looks more like a claw than the handed nod looks like a hand. That's always been my weird thing with nod, and the fact that they like their hand of nod structure, especially in Tib Sun. It does, like when you look at it from the right angle, you can make it the hand from it, but this seems more true to form, I would say. So we're going to get the Tiberian extractor. What do we got? We've unlocked a reclaimer, a melee drone programmed to kill enemy infantry. Can only attack infantry. Turns killed infantry into worker cyborgs Does not receive damage from Tiberian fields. Oh, can cross water. Interesting.
Building.
Alright, get a couple of them.
Unit ready.
Where's our next Tib field? I guess up
Unit
here?
ready.
So we'll get our war factory first.
Building.
And then we'll move our ref up to here. We can get like a ref positioned here and use those 2 fields, starting on the blue first. Give us a nice starting income. Harvesters are like on hind legs as well.
The flesh is weak. Systems functional. On standby.
It's pretty cool. Some nice voice lines. So what are we going to be going into next? So we're going to get the war factory, we're going to get power, then we're going to get radar, then we're going to get power. I'm just going to queue these up because I'm kind of delayed in getting them, and then we'll get the air factory. Oh no, not going to let me? Can't get it yet because I don't have the tech. That's fine.
Construction complete.
So here's our war factory.
New construction options.
Again, nice original model. Looks pretty cool, seems to fit the aesthetic. We've got the harvester here.
Building.
Get a couple of harvesters first. A centurion, good versus infantry, so this is like their buggy equivalent. Then the cyborg reaper is more for vehicles and aircraft.
Cancel.
What's this? This is CABAL finding. Oh, yeah. Okay. So there's power. We get the radar down.
Cancel.
And then we'll move our Conyard up. We'll get the tech. I guess we'll get the tech factory first, or the tech facility, just so that we're able to actually show off all the stuff the faction has to offer. Hopefully before we die. If we die, the last few runs have not been in our favor.
Systems functional. Terminating target.
Building.
Guess we'll get a couple more drone pits while we wait. We have the cash. We should probably build a bunch more
Unit ready.
stuff here too.
Construction complete.
Engaging.
Unit
The
ready.
rally point with the halves immediately going straight to the rally point is interesting.
New construction
That's a
options.
pretty cool
Unit ready.
model.
Construction complete.
I like that. With the CABAL Raider. CABAL.
Unit ready. Unit ready.
Da-da-da.
Construction complete.
Nice. Okay, so I think at this point I want to get the
Building. Cancel.
the power, and then before we get the air factory, we want to get the supercomputer. Right.
Always.
Here's our
without
Centurion.
Unit ready.
So one of these things. Good versus infantry.
rest. They are
Construction
obsolete.
complete.
Like the projectile effects.
Go identifying weak.
It's cool. It turns its body and not the legs with it. You got the body casings too.
Calculating power. By
Super super unique looking.
always vigilant
Insufficient
standby.
funds.
Proceeding to
Unit ready.
Pretty cool.
by your command without by your without rest.
Whatever
Unit ready.
else.
Unit ready.
It's nice. We should probably set a rally point to these guys over here too.
Unit ready.
Scrin, I think, tend to be quite organic usually, but we'll see what they throw at us. So we have a couple of these. What else we got? A railgun turret's good for aircraft. Blaster turret's good for ground units, so not just infantry. What's this? CABAL high-tech detection system. Provides a huge vision range.
Insufficient funds.
Sounds pretty good.
Building.
We do also need to get power.
Construction complete.
So this is our tech center equivalent, the
New
supercomputer.
construction options.
Makes sense.
Cancel.
We'll get a few bits of power up, then we'll get the air factory, and then the nano machine core, which would be like a super
Unit ready.
weapon.
Construction complete.
Yeah,
Unit
CABAL
ready.
support super weapon. Here we have the CABAL. It's supposed to give huge vision radius. We'll see if the minimap changes. A little bit. It gives you a good bit of vision.
Unit ready.
It's a cool looking structure too. And get behind that. And then the Iron Savior is the second super weapon.
Building.
Based off of Scrin technology, funnily enough.
Unit
I'm
ready.
sure they'll be glad to see it used on them. Provides access to the Iron Savior cannon, whereas this one provides access to the nano machine
Unit ready.
swarms. Huh. Okay.
Unit ready.
We are actually running out of tube here, so
Cancel. Cancel.
I'm gonna move my Conyard
Insufficient
a little
funds.
bit earlier than I initially expected. just so we can set up our ref while we still have some cash. And we'll move a few infantry up here too, because we don't know what path the A is going to take. Maybe I'll try to get an engineer for this spike up here. Spike, I'm calling it spike because it's very similar to the CNC3 is tip spikes, right?
The flesh is weak.
But Tiberian extractors.
Systems functional. On standby.
So if I can like get this here, I can get like a ref here and a ref here.
Proceed. Heading to target vector.
Nice. Refinery. So we get 2 refineries, then we get the air factory and the... Yeah, that was it, right? Yeah. Cool. What's this? We need to get the Iron Savior. We didn't get the nano machine core. That was it. So we want to get the ref set up, then we get the air, then we get the nano machine core. This. And in the meantime, we do have access to a spy satellite, so we can see what our opponent's up to. Pretty cool looking models, actually. The purple effect is real nice on those, and I'm very scared looking at that. Okay, maybe we'll be okay. Maybe. Cyborg Reaper are good versus aircraft, so I think focusing on getting a lot of those is the way to go. I do also have access to these drone hosts. Heavy artillery that deploys drones at the target area. Service depot, there's 2 of these units. Usually only have the mobile repair vehicles, fairly standard. But an artisan, they place up to 5 mines, so this is like a mine layer. That's different. A hover APC, slightly different again. Drone host, Minotaur. Advanced walker armed with twin laser cannons. 2,000. Self-repair, can shoot over walls, can crush infantry. It's good versus ground targets. Okay, so we'll get 3 of these, we'll get 2 of these, and then we'll get a bunch more of these. Seems good. Here's our Iron Savior. Here's, what is this? Oh, the second refinery. Nice. I'm assuming this is their vision, their version of the spy satellite that they're using.
Construction
So here's our air factory. I can't actually build here. Not quite sure why.
Engineer detected.
Okay. Set up here. Where? Maybe we got him and that won't cause us any issues. So we've got a few new infantry here. We have a couple of reclaimers. Gladiator, advanced cyborg construct, extremely resilient, good versus vehicles. Cost 750. Here we have an abductor, requires supercomputer, high-tech ambusher drone, good versus infantry and buildings. It needs to deploy to attack. Cloaked and deployed. That's interesting. And then the traditional cyborg commando, right? Yeah, let's get some of those things. So here's the nano machine core. So this is like our super weapon hub over here. And you can see here it's charging up. So the Iron Savior fires a volley of energy at the target location. Instant kills ground units and aircraft. Okay, and then the nano machine swarm fills an area with nano machines, heals friendly units, turns fallen units into workers. Huh. So I'd say that's good in the middle of a fight. Use the nano machine swarm and then it'll like heal your units and attack theirs, whereas the Iron Savior is more of a offensive ability than support. It's pretty cool. And then do we look at the air units? Not really. We have a Wasp aerial drone armed with dual laser cannons. Pretty cool. Carryall, fairly standard. A Basilisk. It's a light frigate armed with firestorm rockets. Okay, sounds badass. And then here's the heavy one. So I guess we have our little Wasps, then we'll have a couple of Basilisks. And then we'll have the Devourer. We're still building a bunch of tanks, which is good. What do we got? So we got our infantry here. Missile cyborgs, so these will deal with the air units. Here's our gladiator, it's like an upgraded cyborg. Good for vehicles. pretty badass looking. I like the size of it. I like the aesthetic of the arms. This is our Minotaur. Here's the Cyborg Reaper. It's kind of a common unit across Tiberian Sun. This is our little Centurions good against infantry. It's pretty cool. Get some power. We're going to have to set up a bunch of turrets here because I suspect with all the scanning I'm seeing they're going to attack me from the top and not necessarily through here.
By your commanding to target vector.
No, never mind, spoke too soon. Here he comes.
Unit lost.
Okay.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost.
Okay.
Construction complete.
The flesh terminating target.
Man, those Scrin models look real cool. I think, to be honest, all of this is kind of awesome to see. Like the CABAL units versus the Scrin units. Like this is all kind of brand new stuff. You got the particle effects. You got like the toxic stuff. You got the rail guns. You got the explosions mid-air. You got the projectiles from like the very War of the Worlds Annihilator tripod. Super cool. And we actually survived. Nice. What's this thing? Oh, CABAL MCV. It's like the Scrin engineer, I guess. We haven't really built many of the service depots. I'll build one in this mission just to see it. I imagine they all look fairly similar. I think that these are the best way to go because it's both vehicles and aircraft. And the Scrins seem to have a good mix of both. So our Iron Savior, a volley of energy volleys at the target location. So I'll set it here. Probably won't see it. Okay, that was pretty damn cool. And then we'll follow that up with the nanomachine swarm here, I guess. Like this seems to be useful in like a defensive, offensive thing, but it's kind of cool effect. It really does seem to be an AoE thing, so you'd really want it to be while you're attacking or dealing with units, which is cool. What I should build after this is get all the air units out here. Test these. So these are little wasps. Expect these to be like twin shots. Yeah, these are the basilisks. Can they shoot air? They can't shoot air. They do have that cool effect on the ground though. Devourer. So the Devourer, you have a look, is this one. Heavy and slow siege frigates. They're good versus buildings. Yeah, it's pretty good, pretty nice army composition. A lot of variety in terms of what's available. It does seem actually throughout all the factions that none of them have had the ability to harvest these veins necessarily, the vein holes. I don't know if the harvesters can. No, they don't seem to be able to. And I don't believe that Nod had a harvesting plant for it. We do see a civilian armory here. Increases experience gain, so you can capture that and your units to level up faster. It's cool. I've seen these used across different mods in various ways, so it's nice. I was going to use the Devourer just to see its offensive attack. Yeah, I'm working on it. Silos needed. Wow, okay. That's a pretty neat effects again. We'll build a carryall just for the hell of it. Build the Artisan. So this is like the mine layer too. So unlike like some of the factions tend to have these mobile repair vehicles, excuse me, but the variation here will be a bit different. And there's their super weapon, the wormhole generator. I'll just get a bit of vision on their base here. Looks like we're going to be all right. Nice. So yeah, here's our artisan, and as it was saying in the actual unit description, place the 5 mines, reloads in the service depot, mines are cloaked, so when you deploy it drops the mine, right? Or does it? Oh, it does. It's just, it's a little bit difficult to make it on the green terrain here, but you can definitely see it here. It's a little cross pattern, so it says mine, it says mine, it says mine. And you can see like the 4 or 5 little pips in the bottom left of the vehicle. It's a little bit hard to make out, but they're definitely there. And then of course you can send it back to the service depot and it'll fill back up. Here's some more devourers. Here's a carryall, just so you can see how a carryall works. We haven't showed one off yet, but we'll use this. We'll use this as an example. So usually it's a case that usually you tell the carryall to pick up the harvester, but in this you just tell the harvester to board the carryall. Even easier. And then you can move it to wherever you want. It's pretty nice. We're going to attack this time and use the nanomachine swarm as sort of a good way to heal our units. Pretty cool. I like the effect of it. It's very CABAL-like. They do a good job, as they say, of making the factions very lore friendly in the aesthetics. And the Scrin stuff here looks absolutely phenomenal too. These are definitely my my favorite. Well, like these two and the Mutants, like they're all so unique compared to just the standard non-GDI factions. They just do such a good job with utilizing like the blue effects here is very CABAL nature, and even the particles of the explosions and things. And meanwhile, the Scrin of this super battle cruiser, I guess, is their epic tier unit. Absolutely wrecks, and you can see some of the damage coming over here too. But we'll use our Iron Savior once more, just to show it off, because it looked cool last time. And then we'll load out to the next one. If it's gonna land. Like, that looks so good, and that seemed to do an incredible amount of damage. Whereas there's a Colossus here doing some AoE damage. It's pretty cool. Again, an example of like a deployed unit. Yeah, nice. You got little pyramids. Again, map's very cool. As you see, it's split down the middle. We've really only been focusing down here and kind of securing this tib. Kind of secured here. In the longer game, we also have the spike up here, or the Tiberium extractor. As you can see, at least half of it. The bit of it going off the top of the map, but that's to be expected. And you got the mobile repair vehicle here too. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Cool to see. And you also have this guy coming in, taking control of our units from the Scrin. A subjugator, so it looks like a Yuri type unit. So he's actually taking control of my mine layer here. That's fine. And then these old construction yard aesthetics. Very cool. And I guess it'll be worth just to have a good look at like a decent patch of blue Tiberium as well, because the effects of like the tip here and the different lighting is actually really nice. I'm a big fan of it. I always like tib lighting. I'm a sucker for it, but it's something that can be done too extreme or too little, and I think this hits a nice middle ground between the two. And again, it uses these like blue Tiberium crystals to vary between the blossom trees and the green tib very nicely. So it's very cool. Big fan. So yeah, it was awesome. You can see the score differential here too. Nice. So that's a look at CABAL. So we got one more faction to look at. So skirmish. We're going to change to Scrin, and we're actually going to play. I don't think we've played against GDI yet. I don't think. Does not did we play against GDI? Maybe, but we'll just go against GDI. Screw it. And we'll make. Can we make GDI like black? Yeah, and then we'll play as like the white Scrin, or like the whitest version of Scrin that we can. Yeah, this is like kind of like a black feel white, even though this is more dark blue versus light. I don't know. Can we get it to like a shade of white? I guess it'll always be a slight tint of some color. Yeah, this kind of very light white slash blue versus dark blue. Screen. We'll try a different map. What do we got? Maybe we'll try a bigger map, like a 4-player map, just to kind of like see how different that is. Not necessarily bigger, but just the layout. Nah, I think we'll stick with the 2v2s, just to keep it simple. Oasis Trouble. Let's try this one. Why not? Created by Bombleet. Cool. Let's try it out.
Establishing battlefield control. Stand by.
Already off to cracking start. We got a little starfish here. Looks very cool. Deploy. There we go. Screen generator. I love the aesthetics of the overlay for the screen here. Very different feel altogether from the other factions. They all have their own unique abilities, but this is very different. Very noticeable. There's a screen generator. A landing zone. So this calls down infantry. It's very callback to the actual lore of the faction and it being kind of mutant race. So we have to call down your infantry units. That's pretty cool. And we'll get ourselves a refinery, so Scrin refinery. What do we got here for units? So we got a razor shark, a meaty creature. And then we got a legionnaire, which is a frontile creature, good versus buildings and aircraft, so you want a good few of those. And a shapeshifter. This is a bit different. You can capture neutral enemy buildings, you can repair buildings. That's nice. Using the Ghost Stalker, which is a little bit of a contrast with it being defensive and not offensive. That's cool. Icar Waste Turret. This is kind of their starting defense. Good versus infantry. Requires power to operate.
Construction complete. Unit ready.
Cool. So we get 2 refineries down. With 2 refineries, then we'll get a power plant. We'll get the forge. Appears to be their war factory. We'll also want to get 1 engineer to get this. We'll probably move our conduit down to here, or do you want to move it to the left? We probably want to go down. Take the whole right side of the map. Cool little animation there from when they're dropping down the infantry as well. Oh, it's not even when they're dropping it down, it's just the generic kind of loot that they have here. Still looks really cool. It's a nice touch.
Unit ready.
Okay, so we got our engineer. Oh, they look so good! Holy shit! Look at this! It's just the aesthetic of their movement and stuff is spot on. That looks really good.
Construction.
There's a second refinery.
Building captured.
Alright, we got the spike, or the extractor.
Construction complete.
Cool. Onto the forge, so we'll be able to build some units. Build a few more legionnaires, a few more razor sharks. Probably less razor sharks because these are really only good versus infantry. And we're coming up against GDI, who will be interesting to see what the AI does with them. If they focus on the air, if they focus on, because like GDI is more generally jack of all trades unit. They have the Orca bombers and stuff for the late game and early game. They've got like Wolverines and Titans. But they also have access to disc throwers and minigunners, so It'll be an interesting matchup to see how it goes.
Unit ready.
Do like the units. Do like the look of the units, like the contrasting green and like the natural. I think most of the time Scrin is associated with the color like purple, pink, so it's actually quite nice to see that in action.
Unit ready.
So here's going to be the forge.
Options.
So the forge is going to give us access to harvesters.
Unit ready.
We'll get 2 harvesters, an Ichor Walker, good versus infantry, and then a hover tank, good versus ground units.
Unit ready.
These are a little bit expensive, 600, 600, 800 is fine, yeah. They're grand.
Unit ready.
And what do we got? Waste turret, no. Do we want more power? We always want more power. Then we're going to get, we have a service depot, radar is next. Enemy engineer detected. No!
Construction complete.
Get him! We're gonna lose it! We're gonna lose it! Oh, so close. God damn it. That's fine, I'll cap it back. Close though, very close.
Unit ready.
What? What do you want?
Ba-ba-ba. I like the civilian units, like the use of pyramids on sand maps they have, and the use of like civilian structures on the other maps.
Unit ready.
It's pretty cool. And again, nicely defined sections of the map so you know where your opponent's key sections are. So if you had a super weapon and wanted to use it, you know where to put it. It's kind of makes these maps very beginner friendly as opposed to like maps where you're not exactly sure where the opponent's going to spawn. And raises a lot of questions back and forth.
Options.
Yeah, okay, so we now have access to, what is this? They have an essence collector which requires the maintenance depot.
Unit ready.
Support unit that steals essence from enemy units. It hovers. Attack deals little to no damage but steals essence to heal friendly units. Okay, so kind of it's like a medic sort of a unit.
Unit ready.
But yeah, the plague troopers, good versus ground targets. Alien breed that poisons enemies. Sure, let's go for some of that. But we do want to make sure we have some anti-air unit.
Unit
So do
ready.
we have
Unit
anything?
ready.
I have a glider. Good versus aircraft. Can transform into an aerial weapon that can only engage ground units. Okay, reminds you a little bit of there's a StarCraft unit that the humans have that can like transform into like a air unit only or a ground unit only kind of assault thing. It's pretty cool. We've got a couple more defensive structures unlocked. Shield generator. It generates a shield around nearby friendly units. Shield protects all damage until the unit is hit 4 times. It's kind of an interesting idea. Tractor beam. It's an anti-air defense. We'll get some of that going. Sounds good.
Unit ready.
Nice. So here we have some of the Ichor Walkers. Nice attack. Here we have the plague troopers.
Construction complete.
It's kind of cool.
Unit ready.
Here we have the glider. Which you were saying you can send it into the air so it attacks ground, or keep it on the ground so it attacks air. Seems to be the way it works, from my understanding. So when it's on the ground, it can't attack that, but when it's in the air, it can. Yeah, cool. Nice, very nice. What do we need next? We need the Stargate. That's pretty cool. Okay, so we'll go for the air unit, add more power, and then get the lab. Seems like a plan. We should probably look at moving our Conyard pretty soon.
Construction complete.
So Stargate, I'll put that down here.
Unit ready.
Yeah, somewhere like that. Looks good to me. So we got a Storm Rider, it's strong versus aircraft, and then we got a Destroyer. Good versus ground units. Okay, get some of those. Seems good.
Unit ready.
Do like the aesthetics again. Very alien. They do a good job of depicting what it is. Here's the hover tank fire. It's pretty cool, a bit of a laser zap. And of course we have here, what was it called? It was the Storm Rider. So it does these little pulse of attack. It's very nice. We'll get this power down, and then we'll get the Scrin Lab, and then we'll move. Because we're running rapidly out of eco here. In fact, we might even tell a couple of these to use a different patch to give it a bit of a chance to recover some of its former glory as a Tib field with the Tib regrowth. Okay. This does look really cool though. And yeah, like I say, this mod you do get used to, like, again, it's just the way that the OpenRA engine works, but you do get used to the mobility of the MCV, and it does very much change up the gameplay and makes you think strategically about making sure you have all the static defenses and things in one location before you move on. But yeah, it's different. Yeah, I'm not gonna get my super weapons here. I'm gonna have to move first, because if I don't, I'm gonna be broke for quite a while. So here's some of the air units. Here's a destroyer. Pretty cool, as expected. I don't think there's anything super surprising about these. It is pretty fun, like just having this makeup of alien units that you can just command and like send all out at once. It's pretty awesome. Looks like we've unlocked the final unit here, Colossus. Heavy duty alien, good versus infantry. Can irradiate its surroundings when deployed. That's just kind of like a desolator. That's nice. Radiation harms all units regardless of owner, so it's got friendly fire, sure. Uncrushable, always nice. Does not receive damage from Tiberian fields, always nice. And that makes sense, I guess, from a lore point of view, right? If he's an irradiator, he's immune to the toxic effects of that stuff. We've got here, of course, a Guardian, which requires a shield generator. Generates shields around nearby friendly units, so it's kind of like a passive shield unit. Here we have a Subjugator, that can mind and control units, so this is like the Yuri kind of unit. It's an interesting idea. And then you've got here the Annihilator Tripod, so the War of the Worlds units we saw in the last game. Good versus infantry and buildings, we'll get a good few of those, they look cool. We'll bring our Conyard alien over here, deploy, get them set up with a refinery, and then we'll get the super weapons here. We'll probably try get some static defenses up here and here, and then get the super weapons like back here. It's still not under my control, I guess it's not. So we'll set the rally point of this to here. We got a couple more destroyers here, this is fine.
Unit ready.
So yeah, for the Scrin it's interesting because like for a lot of the factions the primary color tends to be the one you choose, I guess, in the main menu. And this one it's primarily purple, and then you can see like the green accents, or like the light white green accents, are the color I chose. A little bit worrying. It does seem that the AI, when it chooses to attack you, is very much like, okay, this is what we're doing, we're going to come for you like this. What's good versus ground units? Stasis field generator? Sure. There's going to be a refinery. We'll try hold the line here. We'll use our ability to see what's going on. Over here, not much. See the enemy GDI player here using the Juggernaut to great effect. It's almost like it knows what it's doing, right? Slightly bigger units. Here's our shield generator. We're going to need something offensive. Good versus ground targets. That'll do, hopefully. We'll get these units up here. They're just kind of sitting back, chilling. Of course, Juggernauts can't hit in the air, so we're going to have a good time with those, trying to defend against our destroyers, right? If they choose to attack. Destroyers not hit the ground. Good versus ground targets. Yeah, we should be able to hit the ground, right? Yeah, there we go. Just shoots these balls of damage, which do a little bit of AoE effect. Nice. What do we got? So here's our defensive turrets. So that is a Visceroid Hive. This is our stasis field generator. How does stasis field generator work? So it gives you... It's a cannon that uses EMP projectiles to disable vehicles. Oh, it's like an EMP pulse. Okay. Yeah, here it is. EM pulse.
Unit ready.
That makes sense. Okay, so we want to get our wormhole generator, which we saw used against us in the last match. Get a couple of power plants, and we want to see what we got. A Visceroid Hive. Throws Visceroids at enemies. Sounds pretty cool. We get that. And a signal transmitter. There's the player to call in meteor storm strikes. Okay. It's pretty cool. Here we have a subjugator. This is like a Yuri's Revenge unit. Can have, looks like 3 pips. So 3 different guys. Here's an Annihilator tripod. Do love the, they feel very War of the Worldsy, which is nice. They move, like, it has to be said, like, even with all the kind of different things that they're doing with these factions, like, it feels very much like it belongs in this engine. Like, these units don't feel out of place, which is, it's kind of an easy thing to overlook, or to not appreciate, but, like, the people who worked on the artwork for this, clearly gave it good time and consideration and tested it in game and were, like, evaluating what the best styles are. We detected a super weapon of some sort, but it's not showing it to us. Interesting. Visceroid Hive. So this is like, oh, I have one here already, so I don't really need to build another one, but it seems pretty cool. Throwing Visceroids at enemies. It's a nice way of, like, dealing with problems, just throwing all enemies at it. Here we have, what have we got? We got a battle cruiser, which requires a wormhole generator, which I'm currently building. Maximum supply 1, so it's like a super weapon. Here we have a Scrin host station, which deploys into a host station, which provides a build radius for structures. Oh, so it's kind of like a mini Conyard, or the Conyard, right? It's probably the official Conyard unit of the Scrin. Yeah, it looks like it. Nice. So this is our wormhole generator, and once we get this down, we're going to be low power, but we should be able to build our battle cruiser. Nice. Very cool.
Low power.
Yeah, low power. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Da-da-da.
Construction complete.
Power.
Construction complete.
I did build a engineer, did I didn't get to use it.
Construction complete.
Oh, sorry, that is... Yeah, I get a little bit confused with the color contrast, like I was saying before. Usually the primary color you choose for structures matches the one you choose in the main menu, but this is more... Because it's the alien-based faction based on the purple. So when I see this as this kind of like bluey green color, it throws me off a little bit. I kind of expect it to be like purple. But that's just my own self not being used to the models. So this is like another super weapon.
Building.
It's pretty cool. So you want to try these out. We got an instant wormhole, teleports infantry and vehicles.
Low power.
I wonder if it gives you kind of like a chronosphere,
Low power.
where you take the units in from one location and you place them directly at another, and then of course the Rod of the Creator here will be super interesting to see. I'm assuming he owns this. Yeah, we should probably just take this out. We can try force fire these units. Oh yeah, just to see them a little bit. Not that we needed to. Even the sound of these units, it's so War of the Worldsian. It's really cool. Yeah, they've done a real great job with oh, what? What is this little like surprise attack back here?
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Get away!
Unit silos needed.
Defensive structure, what's good? These are good against infantry, right? You can see the Visceroids coming out here to deal with it.
Harvester under attack.
Very cool. Do I have control over them? Not really. No, I don't. I mean, it'd be a bit weird if I did. Right?
Construction complete. Repairing.
Wait, what's hitting this? Is there an enemy here?
Unit lost.
Or is this just like...
Unit lost. Repairing.
What? Why is this being attacked? Oh boy. Here he comes. I was like, yeah, it was going too easily. Of course he's going to slaughter me at this point. Rip. Huh. Again, the effects of these buildings and stuff blowing up is very nice. All deliberate part of what we're showcasing, right? But this is a hell of an army he's brought with him. The jump jet troopers seem to be super effective. He's got the mammoths thrown in there, juggernauts from the background distance. Yeah, it's absolutely wiping. We do have our super battle cruiser unit here, but I suspect he's not going to be able to do enough against this lot. It does have very nice graphical effects to it. We'll put him on guard mode and see. We'll see how he does, sending him into his death here. But as for the two super weapons there, one looked very much like a chronosphere, and the other one was very much like a meteor strike, so similar to what I would imagine would be kind of like in the Iron Storms in the base campaign. But this thing is absolutely shredding too. This is pretty cool to see. And then it comes down and takes out a few units with it. Hell yeah.
Silos needed.
Our tall boy's gonna go down. But yeah, I think that's a pretty solid look in terms of the Scrin stuff. You can see, geez, almost twice the score after wiping out my entire base. But yeah, it was interesting to see how that faction played out. I think balancing this must be very tricky for the developers. Whatever about like trying to balance GDIV nod, like especially the the big differentiations there. Like a lot of the Scrin units tend to be quite air based. CABAL tended to be more ground based, I guess. And then you have the Mutants who are gotten like a huge amount of infantry focus. Nod, which had some quick units, but did seem to have somewhat of a dependency on late tech air. And then GDI, which again just kind of seemed like a more generic all-rounder. Very cool to see that variation between all of the various factions. But yeah, that was a look at a couple of different maps, all the different factions. There is, as I say, one mission in here. I assume at some point they plan to add a couple more in the future, but for the most part OpenRA is known to be primarily multiplayer focused, which is good in terms of game balance and everything else. And the missions are kind of not necessarily seen as an afterthought, but they're not the primary focus of this kind of mod. But I am really curious to see what they put in here. So it looks like they've got one mission, which is to assimilate the alien artifact. A very long map, so I suspect we'll be going up the way, but we'll see. So an unknown signal has been detected in this sector. Tactical value high. Planning next course of action. Identified unused MCV in the area. Deploying strike team. Praetor, you shall capture this MCV in my name, establish a base, and identify the source of these signals. Cool. So capture MCV, establish a base, identify source signals. Cool. CABAL demands any technological advantage that can be salvaged from this object. Cool. So we're working as CABAL, assumingly. We'll knock the speed up again, just faster a little bit, and see how this goes. We'll try it out. I haven't tried this yet, so I'm curious to see what they've done.
Establishing battlefield control. Stand by.
Okay, cool. So an artifact of alien origin has been detected nearby. Explore the area and recapture our MCV. Sweet. What do we got? So we got swarmings. So I think those are the engineers of this faction. What do we got here? We got a stasis chamber. Allows you to process units into credits. So you can feed your units into that like a grinder. You got reclaimers. What are these? So these are all reclaimers. We got a couple of cyborgs. We got a couple of the big cyborgs. The gladiators. A couple of the abductors. Yeah. We can just take all our units and go for it and see what happens. Probably die, but we'll just suss out a little bit of the mission. Wrecked. Stick them on guard mode. A lot of this will come down to knowing what each individual unit does and using them to your advantage. Take that out. Take this out. Again, the explosion effects and stuff in this, really cool. Pop in. Send in the boys. A lot of these units are clearly melee based, or engineers. The abductors, again, yeah, I think you have to deploy them for it to be super useful. You got, some cool gold ingots? Gold lingots. It's cool. It's like kind of like crates that you can pick up. That's a very nice visual feature. Got a couple of Templars here. Stick everything on guard mode. Nice. Put all of our boys over here. Nice. I probably don't need this, right? I can't sell it anyway, so if I need it or not, it's there. Alright, keep sending our boys up. Again, I'm sure the right way to do this is slow, methodical, figure out what units do what, take your time. But the idea of this is just to give you a very quick sneak peek at the included mission that's on here. And give you some incentive to try it out, because I am certain you can get yourself a con yard in this mission at some point and do a little bit of base building and that kind of thing. We're currently down to this one unit. Unless there's an MCV right here, I'm afraid we're not going to be doing quite so well. Down he goes. GG. And that's the end of the mission. That's pretty cool. We give it one more go. We'll try be a bit more methodical and see if we can see a little bit more. So these seem to be the key units in terms of actually being able to do damage. The abductors are their own thing. The missile cyborgs and the abductors, I think, are also okay to have on the offensive. The reclaimers, I don't quite know what they do. I'm assuming you can like potentially capture stuff with it. And the swarmlings, I believe, are kind of like engineers. Yeah, instead of going up the way, let's go over to the side. Maybe we can do something a little bit different. Nice. Bring these over here.
Unit lost. Base under attack. Unit lost. 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 Unit lost.
Ah, so it looks like that guy. Okay, let's go across the bridge here and see what's going on in this island. See if we can break through whatever this little base section is. Ooh, these things are strong. Let's maybe just run past them and see. Let's get like a little sneak peek of what's actually on the map. See how far we can gain some vision, so that when you go to attempt this, you've got at least an idea of what awaits. NCV located. I'm not trying to hide it. I'm estimating a low probability of encountering an ambush. So there you go. You load up this mission, you want to get a head start, I would suggest either go across the bridge here, stay down to the bottom, take out the turrets, come in here, go up to the left, break in through these turrets, boom, get your contact. Awesome. Well, yeah, I'll leave it at that point. It's pretty cool. It's nice to see. Their developers for this are continuously working on it, so do be sure to drop into their Discord channel. They do have an active ladder as well, I believe. I haven't played it online myself yet, but there is a fully fledged multiplayer lobby. As I say, they do have some form of an active community ladder, which is great, so it'll be encouraging competitive play. There's a whole bunch of streamers who regularly play this, so I do also recommend checking them out. I know The Caution tends to be hosting a lot of the tournaments and competitive scene for it, which is cool. I'll drop a link to him below as well. ZX Gannon, I know he's heavily involved in the community. He used to do a lot of streaming for other CNC games. I'm not so sure if he's still doing it for this, but there are also a couple of others that I'm forgetting to mention at this point. But yeah, there's a huge amount of gameplay in this. There's a huge variety in terms of the different factions that are in play. I will definitely be trying out the multiplayer of this some more after I get used to the different factions. And yeah, as I said, to install it and stuff, very straightforward. Go to the ModDB link, download the file that they have, and it's actually an installer, so you don't need to worry about unzipping stuff to specific folders or any of this. The only thing that I had difficulty with when I actually went to set this up was by default the soundtrack wasn't in it. So when I first launched it up, I went to manage content. I just had to go to, I think it was base game music, and hit download here, and it worked for me. But there are instructions on the Discord that Gannon has up anyway to outline how to manually do it. So if you do have issues with the music or sound effects or anything like that, be sure to reach out to them on their Discord. But yeah, it's been great to try this out and go through all those factions. Hopefully it's useful to you, so you can kind of get a taste for what's actually on offer to you, and that you get a little bit of insight into the campaign mission that they currently have up as part of the playtest. But yeah, that's going to do it for me here. So be sure to enjoy the rest of the anniversary celebrations, and thanks so much for hanging out, and yeah, all that good stuff. And I'll be sure to talk to you all soon. So peace out, guys.